want to tell you guys a story. It is a story of the United Workers, from our humble beginnings to our first human rights victory at Camden Yards. So in 2002, the United Workers was founded by homeless day laborers living in a firehouse turned homeless shelter. We started by having weekly leadership meetings where they ponder questions like, how is it possible that I am employed and still homeless? How is it possible that I am employed and can't afford to provide food for myself and my family? How is it possible I cannot have clothes, or I cannot obtain the clothes that I need when I need them? At this time, most of the people were earning $4.50. This is what they were averaging back then at the stadium. In 2002, people were earning $4.50. Is there anyone out there that can live off of that? Can we support our families off of this? I mean, that's like, you can't even really get a 5-piece nugget meal, right? I mean, $4.50. In addition to low wages, these workers suffered indignities such as being forced to eat their lunches in the restrooms of the stadium. I know. I had to eat my lunch in the restrooms in the stadium. And there's other workers out there that had to do the same. It was as if these workers were an embarrassment to the companies that employed them. They wanted to be, these companies wanted to hide the workers from the fans. Being treated like the trash that they were picking up. Is this fair? Can you guys feel that? Can you guys imagine what it's like to come to work knowing you're not going to make enough, and then have to be subject to your supervisor talking down to you, disrespecting you, basically showing you that you aren't worth the trash you're picking up? I mean, if you don't like it, you can leave. There's hundreds there to take your place. As if we are all disposable. I'm sorry. That's a bit much.
Go ahead, Mike.
So, the workers got tired. They organized themselves, had these weekly leadership meetings, understanding that at these meetings, first of all, they spoke to the root causes of poverty. It isn't just, oh, here's a situation here at the stadium, but what causes poverty in general? What are the causes of this? This poison of our societies. This that crushes our communities. This that prevents us from moving forward in our lives. Stops the progression of our country. We understood that the problem was more than just the stadium. It was more than just Peter Angelos, the owner of the Orioles, billionaire. It was an entire system of exploitation. Different locations, different developments, different people. Poverty has no picks at who it attacks or who it affects. So the workers organized, and we started our first campaign, the living wage campaign. Now, we're going to show a video of our founding. Hey, what's that ice? It's the light of freedom calling, shining up to the that's a beautiful, pretty cloud, right? That little purple in that little purple.
We're not making enough money to do anything, okay? I mean, you get a check once every 2 or 3 weeks, and sometimes it's for a day, sometimes for 2 days, and that's not enough money even to go buy groceries. Okay, besides the fact that we don't get a lunch break, we don't get any kind of break, actually. We have to work from the time we get here to the time we finish.
I guarantee you that if you look at all the history books in any of the libraries, you will never find where a dumb force goes up and defeated a smart one. Never. That if we're gonna outfight what we're up against, we gotta outsmart them. That means we gotta do what you guys are doing right now in terms of educating each other, learning from each other, speaking to what lessons you've learned, your conclusions, exchanging it, and developing our capacity to think and outsmart what we're up against.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Don't let nobody turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching in the freedom land. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Don't let, keep on walking.
So those were our founding years there. So for over 3 years, we struggled with this campaign. We organized, we protested, we exposed the atrocities that was going on at the stadium. After 3 years, people were quite fed up. The workers were tired of going through this. They decided it was time to make a change. Something drastic had to be done. So it was publicly announced that we were going to have a hunger strike. 15 workers and allies committed themselves to this hunger strike. They pressured the governor, who was O'Malley, to side with the workers and demand that the workers get a living wage. We won that victory. We got that. After the pressure on the governor, the stadium authority decided to give the workers what they asked for. But it wasn't until the workers decided to pressure them to stand up for themselves, to organize themselves. We have the power. Now, this is it's a historic event because it's the first time in U.S. history that day laborers have earned and fought and won a living wage. But that wasn't the end. Because as I said earlier, we understand that it was more than just a stadium. It was more than just Peter Angelos, this billionaire. It's an entire system. So for over a year, United Workers went out and done surveys with workers across the city. And it was when we got to the inner harbor that we realized that the same things that we saw at the stadium, we were seeing at the harbor. Almost exact, the same nonsense again. We weren't surprised. We understand this is a big problem. But it made sense for us to have our next campaign there at the harbor. So, after hearing all these stories, and as an organizer, I go to people's homes. I speak to them. I can relate to them. They can relate to me. Building these relationships is what matters. This is how we organize. So, in October 25th, 2008, we declared the Inner Harbor a human rights zone. We marched from Camden Yards to the Inner Harbor and planted a symbolic flag. Actually, the planter of that flag is in this room. So, that march marked the next step in a fight for fair development. This is the next chapter, the chapter that we're currently in now. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge everyone in this room. I see you all as leaders. You took the time to be here. You've lent yourself to this struggle. And you should give yourselves a hand for that.